New Life Church. I'm Pastor Joe. I'm here with Bryanna Aker, who grew up in the church. And so I was going to ask her to share her testimony because it's kind of like an anti-testimony. People assume that when someone has a testimony, they went from like this tragic, horrible story into the church. And in Bree's case, she grew up around the church. So Bree, tell us your story.
Yeah, so Joe, I don't know about you, but I really love hearing people's testimonies,
sure,
especially the really radical ones where someone is in the midst of a crisis and God just steps in and completely redeems them and saves them and just showers his grace upon them. But about a year ago, I struggled with the fact that I didn't have one of those radical testimonies. Mm-hmm. And I was jealous of the people who did. And it got to the point where I actually Googled, I don't have a testimony. And I was pretty shocked by the articles that I was reading. I kind of got slapped in the face because there was one article where a guy was speaking about his small group. Mm-hmm. And in his small group, there was a girl who also expressed that she didn't have a testimony. And this guy was really taken back by it. And he was almost furious because what she didn't realize is that God had protected her from the beginning. She didn't have to go through the things that he went through. I think people need to realize that it's not necessarily only that God pulls people out of the mud, but he also prevents people from falling in the first place.
Falling into sin and getting entrapped in situations. So,
yeah, absolutely. So what I wanted to encourage is that if any of you feel like you don't have a testimony, that's not true. Because your testimony isn't only your point of salvation, it's what God has done and is doing in your life. So yeah, you might not have a radical moment of salvation, but I can almost guarantee you have a radical testimony. Yeah. God has done incredible things in my life, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with people.
Yeah, that God has spared you from the life of sin. And let's thank the Lord for that. That's
absolutely
a great testimony. It's a testimony I imagine that many of you in New Life have. So I'm Pastor Joe. This is this week's New Life Story. We'll see you next week.